Have you ever wondered why Moses, the man who led millions out of slavery, who stood face to face with Pharaoh, who spoke with God on Mount Sinai, never entered the Promised Land? How could someone so faithful, so chosen, miss out on the very place he led others to? In this video, we're going to uncover the one mistake that cost Moses everything. And more importantly, what it means for you and me today. Moses was no ordinary man. From a baby drawn out of the Nile, to a prince of Egypt, to a fugitive in the wilderness, and finally, a deliverer of God's people. He performed mighty miracles, turned the Nile to blood, parted the Red Sea, called down manna from heaven. He led God's people through the desert for 40 long years.
But at the very end of his journey, just as the Israelites stood on the border of the Promised Land, Moses was told something shocking. You will see the land from a distance, but you will not enter it. Deuteronomy 32, verse 52. What could he have done wrong? The answer lies in one critical moment, an incident recorded in Numbers 20, verse 1 to 13. The people of Israel were once again complaining, this time about water. They cried out, accusing Moses of bringing them to die in the desert. Sound familiar? They had done this before, grumbled, murmured, turned against leadership. But this time, Moses had had enough. He and Aaron went before the Lord, and God gave them clear instructions. Take the staff, and you and your brother Aaron gather the assembly together. Speak to that rock before their eyes, and it will pour out its water. Numbers 20, verse 8.
Moses didn't speak to the rock. He shouted at the people, saying, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring you water out of this rock?" Then he struck the rock, not once but twice. Yes, water came out. But God was not pleased. Now, at first glance, this might not seem like a big deal. After all, he had struck a rock before, and water came out. Exodus 17. So what's the issue this time? Was it that he struck the rock instead of speaking? Was it his angry outburst? Or was there something deeper? Listen to God's response in Numbers 20, verse 12. Because you did not trust in me enough to honor me as holy in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this community into the land I give them. There it is. This was not just an issue of anger, not just disobedience. It was a matter of misrepresenting God's holiness. Think about it. God told Moses to speak to the rock, a gentle act that showed God's mercy and grace. But Moses acted in anger, and in doing so made it look like God was angry too. He said, "Must we bring you water?" He took part of the credit. He shifted the focus from God's power to his own authority. This one act, in a moment of frustration, tarnished the image of God before the people, and that's the core of it. As a leader, Moses was representing God to millions. God was setting a standard. Those who represent him must reflect him accurately. You might ask, but wasn't Moses still a great man of God? Absolutely. He was still God's servant. He still made it into the hall of faith in Hebrews chapter 11. But his mistake cost him something, the fulfillment of a lifelong mission. And this teaches us a sobering truth. Sometimes one moment of compromise, pride, or disobedience can cause us to miss out on a promise. God takes obedience seriously, especially from those who are given influence and leadership. But there's hope. Because even though Moses didn't enter the Promised Land with the people, he was seen in the Promised Land later, standing with Jesus during the Transfiguration. Matthew 17, verses 1 to 3. So what can we learn from Moses' one mistake? 1. God desires obedience, not just results. Even if the water flowed, disobedience still displeased God. 2. Our actions shape how others see God. As believers, we are living representations of his character. 3. Frustration is not an excuse to misrepresent God. Even in our hardest moments, we must reflect his grace and holiness. Fourth, God is just, but also merciful. He held Moses accountable, but he also honored him in eternity. Have you ever found yourself frustrated like Moses, feeling like the people around you just don't get it, and you're tempted to act in your own strength? Remember, God is calling you to trust him, even when it's hard, to speak when he says speak, to represent him well in front of others, to remain faithful even in your wilderness. Let Moses' story be a powerful reminder. Don't let a moment of disobedience cost you the promises God has for you. If this video spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful biblical insights. And share this with someone who might be struggling with obedience or leadership pressures. Let's walk in truth and make it to the promised land together.